How y'all doing? That's like instantaneous. Did y'all coordinate that ahead of time? Yeah, temper out 6.5. Temper out 9.8. You know, I don't know how to. How do you temper something out? I don't really even know how. Should I know how to do that? I know how to tell if a mapping does temper something out, but I don't know how to figure out what that mapping is. I guess I could try to like, I don't know if you can reverse engineer it. Like, can you go from 0 is, can you do like algebra? Can you just like start at 0 for a map and then like go backwards? I don't know if that's how people do things or not. 2 and 4 temper out 9.8. Temper out 9.8 equates perfect fourths and fifths, mapping them both to a tritone. Alright, let me see if I can remember how to do RTT. So 9.8 is, what's it, 3, so it's 8 is 2 to the third. So it'd be -3 and 3 squared. So that'd be 9.8. And then 2 would map prime 1 to 2. Alright, one thing at a time. Holy moly. How about this? You do that while I do this baby stuff. All right, so 2 maps 2 to the octave. It would map 1 to the 5th, right? And then 4 would map 4 to the octave and 2 to the 5th, right? So 2 times 3 is -6. 1 times 2 is 2. Wait, no, hold on. This should be 3, and this should be 6. All right. So it's be -6 and 6, so that's 0. And this one would be -12 and 12. Okay, so that checks out. So these both are 0. So the most basic version of this. So if you subtract this from this, you get 2, 3. So 2, 3 is the most basic. Is this the most basic version? You can subtract. If you subtract one from the other, you just get 2, 3 again. If you add them, you get 6. So I guess 6, 10. Does 10 temper it out too? 6, 10. I know 12 doesn't. But interesting. 10 doesn't, but 10b, a silly val does. Yeah, okay, I see. It's the whole tone scale, yeah. So it has a 9/8 in it. It would map it to 1. Well, it would map it to 7. Or 1. Never mind. You're right. 1. Yeah. 6 maps 9/8 to 2. Let's see. What? Let's try that out. So 6. 6. 9. So that'd be negative 18 and 18. No, it tempers it out. Well, why wouldn't it temper it out? If it maps 9 to... Does it not map 9 to... Its third... Prime 3 would be 9, right? Or would it be 10? $702 is closer to 800. Okay, that makes sense. So it would go to 10. So this would be okay, so that'd be negative 18 and 20. So yeah, it'd be 2. Okay. So it'd be 2 steps. So it'd be a major third, yeah. Now that makes sense. It's technically it's closer to 800. Not by much. But yeah, it will be closer to 800. So that does make sense. Yeah. All right. That was fun. And I'm not doing this. Sorry. I don't even know what that means. But you're welcome to share your findings. Antitonic temperament. Oh, that's interesting. Never heard of that. Have you written anything in antitonic? It's writing in 2 or 4. Are there any large Itos that temper out the 5th? Like, what about 13? What does 13 do with it? So what would be 13? I gotta look this one up. 13 Edo. That'd be 8 steps. So it'd be 21. Right? Does that temper at 3/2? What is 3/2? It's just 1, 1. Oh, never mind. That doesn't tell me anything. That's literally the answer right there. All right. The tritone has to be the best approximation of the fifth for it to work. So you need a 600-cent tritone. Okay. So what does an 8 look like? I guess this would be the best fifth, and 8. No Ito's temper out 3/2. Oh, interesting. Eight tempers at 16/15. Equating 4/3 with 5/4. Hmm. The 8 tempers out 16/15. That says right there. So I wonder how you know what, like, how do you figure out what commas it would temper out? Is it a finite number? I guess it must be, since like mean tone only tempers the syntonic comma and like multiples of it. So 8 tempers out 16/15. Go over that. So 8. What's the fifth? 5. So it'd be 13. And then the third would be 3. Is the third 3 or 2? It's got to be 3, right? So 3, so 19. And 16/15. 16 is 2⁴. So before. And then 15 is 3 times 5. Is it 4, -1, -1? Is that right? So you get 32, -13, -19. And that's 32 and 32. Okay, so it's 0. Very nice. 8 supporting porcupine is the equivalent of saying 12 supports septimal mean tone. Every Ito tempers out an infinite amount of commas, but a finite amount of useful ones. Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. But not every mapping matrix is gonna temper out an infinite number of commas, right? Because I'm pretty sure like mean tone only tempers out 81/80. I mean, they said that. I think they said that. It's like only 81/80 and no other commas except multiples of that. Can you verify that 8 tempers out the porcupine comma? But for that, you need two. You need two mappings, so that makes a little more sense. 250. So that's 5 times 5 times 5 times 2, so 5 to the 3. Hold on, let me math that out real quick. So that's 5 to the 3 times 2. And then, now, what the heck is 243? I don't even know what that is. I'm just gonna look that one up. Factorization. 243. Three to the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. Really? 3 to the 5? Okay, good. So 3 to the 5 is 243. So it'd be 1, -5, 3, and 8 Ito. It'd be 8. 13. I already wrote it down a second ago. Stop. What are you doing? 8. Sorry. 8, 13, 19. So we have 8. -65. And then 57. What is 8 plus 57, 65? That sounds right. So yeah, it does. So the minor thirds Ito step is an even number. Mean tone can temper out more commas if you extend it to higher limits. So in 7 limit, it tempers out 225, 224. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's like considered extended mean tone, or like, what is that, septimal mean tone? Is that that's what Variable was saying earlier? 12 supports septimal mean tone. Yeah, okay. So the minor thirds Ito step is an even number. The fourth is divisible by 3. Can you have, so why is it that I don't understand. Why would it mean the minor thirds Ito step is an even number? Is it just always works out that way? It always works out that way. And 22, I don't even know my intervals in 22 because I should really learn those. It goes subminor, minor, no, subminor, minor, major, super major, right? So subminor, minor. So be 1, 2, 3, 4. Be 6 steps. And 22 will be minor. Three out of 22 is the generator. So it's a major second? What? No. Yeah. 3 out of 22. Yeah, it is 3. I do remember that. But it's a neutral second. Oh, it's down major. Oh, that's right. You want the down major third. That's why it's confusing, but yeah, it's a major second. If you're thinking about the chords, you'd actually call this super major, but technically it's major. This is down major. All right, if you're thinking of chord quality, this is super major, but really there's no, well, this is a major third, but it's kind of flat. It's a little sharp, but that's why 22 is neat. Porcupine can extend nicely to the 11 limit basically for free. The commas are 64, 55, and 100. I don't know what that means. What do you mean? Like what? How do you extend? Do I just need to read more RTT? How do you extend the Does it work in 22 still, or do you need to go to a higher Edo? Or do you have to like do some other tomfoolery where you like tune it weird? It would work for 22. The 22 is like good in the 11 limit, right? Or like sort of good. I mean, that's sort of good, I guess. So it's good in 7 and 11. Represents the 11 odd limit consistently. It's not in mean tone. Adds 3 and 5 to 11 Edo's subgroup. Look at that. What are you gonna do with that, you know? What can't you do with that? That's a better question. Quarter comma super pith. Interesting. YouTube snipes links. You can message me on Discord. Or if you're on Twitch, I'm on Twitch too. I am Stalefleas. Oh, plainsound.org. Alright. Now what? Just click things. Look at this. Ben Johnson, legend. Audio. What am I missing here? Temper.plainsound.org? Oh, okay. Got you. Okay. Temperament calculator. I don't know what to do with this. Put 235 in the subgroup. Okay. Is that it? Submit. No Ito's entered. Why do you... I thought you were supposed to help me find one. Is that good enough? Or should you do 1,000? Oh. Um, yeah, that's mean tone. Looks about right. Yeah. Seen this before. Oh, okay, I got you. All right, you just plug these in here just to see. Okay, well, all right. Let's see. 11 and 18. Let's go. This. Look at that. How do you like that? Well, get to work. We struck gold. What's all this nonsense? I need to read more. It's still lost. Badness. Come on, dude. It's got a good soul, right? Doesn't look that way. What is this? Ito join. Are these... Is this like a different wart? What is that? I don't know what that is. Alright. Let's see. Let's extend this. $13, $22. Oh, I see what it's doing. Kind of. It's just mapping these. What? Oh, I put in the wrong one. Okay. That's why it looked weird. I see. It's just a reduced mapping. So this would have started out with like 13 blah 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 and 22 blah blah blah. And then how does it choose a comma? That's what I'm wondering. How does it know what How does it get this? So if we did 15 and what's my favorite one? 34. I should do my favorite two. 22 and 34. I'm bringing up 56 now. I don't know what that means. Diaschismic. So I think this was originally like 22, and this was 34, blah, 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 blah. But where'd they get? Well, they took that and then they like plugged it in this. And that gives you this. Right? Where did they get this from? Put 31, 19 with the mapping shows many generators. The temperament maps the primes too. Alright. So, what'd you say, 19 and 31? Oh yeah, it'd be cool actually. Yeah. Uh, yeah, just hit me up on Discord if you like. Still please on Discord. And just give me a ring. Yeah. Hello.
Yo, hello.
Hey,
Uh,
what's up?
all right. So yeah, this is a pretty powerful website. It can teach you a lot of stuff about like I guess give you a lot of info on uh, how to do RTT stuff or like what temperaments speedos have in common. So I guess just like this is like the 7 limit extension to mean tone. You could see if you look at the mapping thing. That shows you like how how the generators kind of map the different primes. So how 2/1 is, you could see the top generator is just octaves, and then the other one is perfect fifths. So like with mean tone, yeah, your octave, you just use your octave generator. With your to get 3/1, you just multiply 3/2 times 2/1, and then to get to 5/1, you stack like 4 perfect fifths. And like also now you see there's an extra, so that would just be just normal mean tone, and then you also have the 7 here, and that to 10 generators up. So the way you could think about acceptable mean tone is like with mean tone you're flattening the fifth, right? So like imagine like by default if we do this stuff in 12th, when we if we stack 5 whole tones, that's gonna get us to like 1,000 cents, and we want like a 7/4. So instead, by stacking like these like flatter whole tones because it's mean tone, right?
Okay.
Uh, it naturally gets us to a 7/4.
Oh, I see. So that's okay. So like, okay, interesting. That's where you just subtract the one from the other, I guess, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a flatter tone. So okay, that makes sense. So you need seven of them.
Well, yeah. Well, you need 10. You need to go 10 perfect fifths up and then 3 octaves down. So you can see at the
Okay,
bottom that
I
shows
see.
how
Yeah,
many
yeah.
perfect fifths, and then on the top that shows how many octaves.
Okay, I see. I see. Yeah. So 1, 3 over 1, and then this minus this. It just makes it 1. And then I don't know what the heck these are doing, but
And it's not like the top minus the bottom. It's just like the top combined with the bottom. The bottom just shows your 3/2 generators, and your top just shows your 2/1. So
okay.
like
Uh-huh.
the second column, so like the first column is for 2, the second column is for 3, so
Yeah.
to get a 3/1.
Yeah.
Because this is just showing your like rooted prime harmonics. So you need a 2/1 times a 3/2, which gets you 3/1.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, it's a lot
Okay.
of it's
Hmm.
very condensed information,
Yeah.
and you got to
Yeah.
know how to interpret it because it's not very obvious.
Yeah, I just started learning the mappings the other day, so it's not intuitive, but I can kind of see it. Like this makes sense, sort of, but the I mean, I see that the octave is here, and then I see that the fifth is here. So I'm kind of taking your word on like this bit.
Yo variable, the -3 in the 7 limit section represents going an extra 3 octaves down because you're going like 10 3/2s up. That gives you a 7, though it's like I think it would give you it too many octaves up, so that's just going back down, kind of octave reducing to get your 7/1. Well, I guess not fully octave reducing because you're getting a 7/1, not a 7/4, but just bringing it down to where it needs to be.
Right to the prime, yeah.
Hmm.
Interesting. So
Yeah, so
uh-huh. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
uh,
Sorry.
yeah, so you can see here you still temper out 81/80, but you're also tempering out this other comma,
Okay.
225/224. This
Okay.
is the I think it's called the Marvel comma, and basically it makes some nice equations between some intervals. It maps your 45 over 32. It equates that with 7/5. So the 45 over 32 is your like normal 5 limit tritone, and then that kind of just
Oh.
equates it with the 7 limit tritone. I think it equates 16/15 with 15/14, and it kind of just helps simplify stuff down. And with mean tone, it makes it map very nicely to the 7 limit. You can see here, if you look at the errors down there, it would probably, I think it would be the CWE errors. This shows you how off each of the primes are. So you could see
Oh
our
wow.
with CWE, whenever stuff has a C in front of it, that just means that you're making sure the octaves are pure.
Okay.
But so we can see we have no error on the octaves. Our octaves are exact. We
Yeah.
have a flatter 3/1 or a 3/2.
Is
Same thing
this
as we have pure
is this in
octaves.
cents or is it
Yeah, and then
okay? I see.
so this is in cents, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just the cents error, and it's
It's got
so because
a
it's like
really good
about
prime cutoff.
5.3
Yeah.
cents flat, it says -5.3.
Uh-huh.
And then your 5 is
Really
pretty
good.
accurate for
Yeah.
your like major third,
Yeah.
and then your 7 is also pretty accurate. So it's kind of like shocking how good mean tone is. It's such a nice
Yeah.
temperament, even though
Interesting.
it's like so simple.
Do you have to so if this is in 31, like you can do this in 31 or
Yes. So
okay.
all of this, like these interval equations that are like done by septal mean tone, are going to be supported by all the Itos listed there. Oh yeah, and what you were
I
asking
see.
about the warts earlier.
Uh-huh.
So when it says
Here.
like
Yeah.
-7 or +7 there, that means that you're instead of using the best approximation, if it says -7, you're going like the note one below the best approximation of the 7.
Okay, so
So that's just
I see.
saying that if
Yeah, I
you
gotcha.
do that, if you make that modification to 7 Edo and basically pretend like you're using that other mapping for the 7/4,
Uh-huh.
then all the equations will work
So
out.
it's just a different way of putting the warts. I kind of like that though. So you would put if you did the second best, you would do two minuses.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, also, I should say, sometimes this is written differently. Sometimes this would be written
Yeah.
as 7
C.
7D,
Yeah.
which word notation is kind of
Mm-hmm.
hard to read. I really like the way that temper.plankton.org does it,
Yeah, this
because it's a
is
lot more readable. Just seeing
yeah.
like it brings it down by one, but sometimes like each letter. So you might see like I was saying earlier with antitonic. So 10 doesn't temper out 9/8, but 10b does. All 10b is saying is that you're taking the second best approximation of your 3/2 or your 3/1, rather.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah.
One thing I like
And
about
then 10BB would be taking the third best approximation. So like basically each
mm,
letter, like corresponds to your octave. Normally, like you wouldn't ever see that because in an Edo, what would you be your second best approximation of the octave? It kind of doesn't make sense to think about
right,
that.
right.
But then yeah, your three, changing your three, you would use the letter B for that. Changing your five, you would use your C for that, and so on.
Yeah. Like your third best five harmonic five would be CCC or CC, I mean, just two C's. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. One thing I like about this though is it rather than telling you order of good of accuracy, it's tells you what direction to move.
Yeah,
It's
this is a
almost
lot more readable
simpler
in
in
my
a
opinion.
way, yeah. Which yeah is nice. And yeah, I guess just like with the other word notation, you wouldn't normally do like a E or that'd be kind of
Mhm.
bizarrely
Yeah.
conceptual, but yeah, that's cool. So what do you do with this? Like how does this relate to your compositional process? Like
So I guess this is just like figuring out temperament stuff in general. And temperaments, there are like two big things that they're useful for, or I guess three things. First, like figuring out what like what properties certain Edos share with each other. Like what logic can you carry over from say like 31 to 19? That's fairly so. If you use mean tone or just your diatonic scales in 31 and 19, it will be like fairly easy to translate analogous stuff just because they're going to be uh, they're both mean tone.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you can see like what certain Nidos have in common and be able to like make connections with ideas. The second one is for generating scales,
Okay.
uh, like MOS scales. Do you know what those are?
Yeah, I mean, not an expert or anything, but I'm familiar.
Yeah, so temperaments are a great way to like find what MLS scales might be good and what might work. So like with mean tone, like your MOSs that would correspond to that are just like 5L2S, your diatonic, and then like 7L5S, which is like a more chromatic version of that. Uh,
Yeah. Okay,
and
yeah.
then
Uh-huh.
yeah, so basically, you can get some nice scales if you want to work in a subset of an Edo. Using temperaments can be helpful. And so if you just like copy the generator that says like 960 or no, sorry, 696.656. If you just copy that and then went to Scale Workshop,
Okay.
uh, and then just pasted that, went to rank 2 temperament and pasted that in, that would show you like uh, several options for MOS scales that are just like generated with that. So if you go like
Oh,
to
interesting.
a 7, or you could get a 7-note MOS scale, 12-note MOS scale, etc.
Wow. That's
This would
cool.
just be like uh, if you do it this way, this is just taking like purely that temperament, not even
Yeah.
like in a specific Edo.
Yeah.
So this is just the optimized temperament or the optimized generator for like how to best do the primes. I don't really know how the math goes into optimizing stuff. It's a lot of numbers,
Okay.
but
But the
uh,
scale's not
like yeah,
even
but yeah,
necessarily.
scales are a big part. Also, keyboard mappings. Figuring out like keyboard mappings based off of like those scales. So you can make like isomorphic keyboard layouts based off of a lot of like these temperaments. So like for mean tone, you could just go to like 31 Edo, and then like in Scale Workshop, and then go vertical 3, horizontal 5, or you could probably also set this up on your linnstrument. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Do you just like
Hmm.
do that in there? But
Yeah, I can do it on there.
yeah, and then knowing uh, like you would have your diatonic stuff just in your normal diatonic shape. Also, because 31 is also septimal mean tone, your you get the shape for 7/4 being, I think, going 5 steps over, like just 5 steps horizontally over,
Oh, really?
and that would be where your 7/4 is placed within that scale. So,
What do you use as the generators on that?
uh, oh, so vertical 3, horizontal 5. So
Okay.
basically just a diatonic
Yeah.
layout. Because mean tone is like diatonic based because it uses a perfect fifth as its generator.
Okay. I think I follow you. That's just like the
So like yeah, just the
basically.
normal diatonic
Yeah.
31
Hmm.
layout would
Yeah.
work for like mean tone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. That's what I have. Hold up. And then what?
And then it
Yeah.
can be pretty intuitive to like go from like similar Edos that support the same temperament. You'll just be able to like play pretty much the same if you use uh, the keyboard layout associated with that. So
Right.
31
Yeah.
also has like some other temperaments that it does that you could also make keyboard layouts. I mean, you don't have to
Hmm.
memorize every temperament. I'd say,
Right. Of
yeah,
course.
yeah, just like as long as you know how to like parse the information and kind of get a sense of how to read this stuff, yeah, it should be a
Right.
lot easier just to like
You understand the
learn and
logic
pick
of
up.
it, yeah. No, yeah, we were it's kind of making that connection yesterday with Tetracot. Like I found like a cool layout for 55 Edo on here just accidentally, where
Mm,
like the fifth was like horizontally four up, and the neutral third was right in between. So it was two up, or it was two up, and the fifth was four up, or whatever. So I noticed that on 55, but we were trying Tetracot in 41 and 48, and the layout was the same in both. And then so also since 34 supports Tetracot, there must be that layout in
mhm.
Tetracot as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah,
So I was even thinking like
exactly.
earlier today, like, oh, I need to try that in 34 because it'll probably be the same. And yeah, no, it is a good thing to know because you can find consistency in like how to navigate all these like, you know, 34 and 41 or I guess in a similar area, but you know, 34 and 55 are so far apart. Like, but you could actually play them in a similar sort of way. You could approach them similarly.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really cool actually. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, a lot of Zen like theory or like stuff that you'll find on the wiki and stuff like that can be very like information dense, but nearly impossible to parse if you don't already know how to do it.
right.
Uh,
You have to like learn. You got to learn these like
yeah.
systems for analyzing the information.
Hmm.
That's what we
Yeah.
need. That's what we need. Like more content geared towards is like training people on this stuff.
Yeah, I've been wanting to make some videos on that, but I'm just horrible with procrastinating to get around to stuff.
Right, yeah, I mean, you clearly understand it pretty well. I mean, I think even just like going through this process where maybe you don't explain every little detail of it, but like if you do this and plug this in scale workshop, like that's good to know. Like you can pull that, plug that in there and you can see all the Moss scales. Like
Hmm.
I've seen this before, but I've never really even thought
Yeah,
about it.
so yeah, also, if you ever like find like a certain feature or some property that two Edos have in common, and you're like, I wonder if there's like a comma for that, you can just plug those two Edos into the temperament calculator,
Oh, interesting.
and then
Yeah.
you could just like find that, like, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's just a great way to yeah figure stuff out.
Yeah, like sometimes 11 reminds me of whole tone. So I wonder if like 6 Edo and 11 have something in common.
Yeah, though some stuff like that might not perfectly work for this because 6 and 11 don't really have a great approximation for the 3. However, if you did like
Uh-huh.
something like, let me think of what could potentially work. I don't know, like 2.9 dot something, maybe 2.9.7 or 2.9.5.
Okay.
Because you wouldn't have a great approximation of your fifth. Because
I
when you
see.
have like dual fifth systems, kind of aren't great for this because if you pick your sharp fifth or your flat fifth, no matter what, like your kind of uh, thing that looks like a 9/8. Because in dual fifth systems, if you stack your sharp fifth and then your flat fifth, then you'll get your like 9/8 in that system. But if you just do it this way, it's just gonna assume you're sticking to one consistent fifth. So stuff like 11 and 6 might not work
Okay.
as well.
Interesting. So it's better to see relationships between more similar Itos, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like Itos with more similar
yeah.
fifths,
And the
especially.
crazy thing is like every two Itos share some temperament in common.
Right.
And that's the cool part. So a lot of
Uh-huh.
times, like you can just go like 235 or 23, like put in 235 or put in 237 or
Uh-huh.
2357, and like see what temperament two Ito share. Like you found the the insane 11 and 18, which is like comically bad.
Uh-huh. Well,
Like you stumbled upon that, but yeah, that was funny. But yeah,
oh,
you could like find
thanks.
stuff like let me
Yeah.
think.
Look at that.
I'm like, yeah, you like, I don't know, like 15 and 19 or something random like that. Uh,
Sure. So, Clydesman.
yeah, this gives you a very accurate temperament called plasmic, and
Look at that.
uh, I mean this one's basically the way this one works is you stack 6/5s to
Uh-huh.
where if you stack six of them, that equals 3/1,
Interesting.
and it's like weirdly accurate like for uh and yeah,
So
so
they get
even like
sharp.
something super accurate like 53 supports it.
Uh-huh. So they're a little wide.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said 53 supports Clydesman.
Hmm.
So what?
Yeah, but yeah.
19, I guess, two or no?
Yeah, you can see just all of the Itos and the list of Itos
Yeah.
things. So like yeah.
So in all of these, if you stack six minor thirds, you get a fifth.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of times what you can do, like
Oh,
you won't
34.
immediately
It's my
be able to
friend.
tell what the well, a good way to kind of tell what's going on is just by looking at the generators and how it maps stuff. But also, if like that can be tricky, you can just click on the comma because all of these, if you click on any of these like blue numbers, it will take you to the ZenWiki pages
Oh,
for
really?
it. So like, yeah,
Okay. Interesting.
and that's a super helpful thing if you just want to like learn about that.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Tempered out and Hansen temperament. And it's inflated in 12.
Yeah, so 12 doesn't temper this one out.
No. Interesting. That's cool. So yeah, so you'll sit here and just plug in Itos and see what they
Yeah, if I'm
do.
ever bored,
Yeah.
that I could, then I will sometimes just figure out like, hey, what properties do these Edos that look unrelated share in common?
Yeah, this is a good resource. I should bookmark this actually. There we go. That's cool. Nice.
Anyways, thanks a lot for like
Yeah.
having me join the stream.
Hey,
Yeah, it was fun.
anytime. Yeah, no, that's cool. Thanks for walking me through that. It's very
Yeah,
very
it's like
interesting. Yeah.
getting close to being midnight, so I should probably get going.
No, you
All
should.
right.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
If that is it,
See you
this,
maybe next live stream.
it's very nice
Bye.
talking with you. Very good. All right. Yeah. That was enough of that. Thank you. No, that was cool. Yeah, very cool. All right. Let's see. Let's catch up on chat a little bit as well. Stop inventing words on every page. Talking about warts. How to read the Monzo. Yeah, that part was confusing to me as well. So we're planning to make content about that. For the number of temperaments and scales. Why not just call it 5L3? Well, if it, you can. Mom, I'm famous. You're not getting famous here. We're all in the we're all like firmly nested in obscurity. The veil of this stream should be called the veil of obscurity. You done learned things. No, yeah, I learned more live streaming than I did in school. Yes, it's the veil of obscurity. The veil of Zen. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm so curious though. Like, can I make sense of this? This is a octave. Is that major 10th? I don't get it. Because you can kind of ignore this. That's one and that's six. 6 5s. 6 3s. 5 5s. Yeah, no, the mappings confuse me. But
Here, I could try to explain the mapping one more time.
oh sure, yeah.
So it's just here. If you see the like WE tuning, CWE tuning thing down there,
Yeah.
you could see it like, or the generators are like an octave and then a
Oh,
yeah,
right here?
and a minor third.
Okay.
So this is just showing you how many of those generators you have to stack to get each of your various primes. The mapping is showing. So the top row is just showing you for each of these, like how many 2/1s are needed, and then the bottom row is how many 6/5s are needed. So this you're just stacking together these two. So for 2/1, you just stack your octave thing, because yeah, and then for 3/1, you stack 6 minor thirds, and then for 5/1, you have to stack 5 of these minor thirds, and then an extra octave up.
Oh, it's
So does that make more sense?
when you say it, it makes sense, but I know there's no way I would like make sense of it on my own. But yeah, it does. It almost I can tell it's intuitive once you understand it.
So a lot of times, I only look at the bottom row, because the top row is just octave reducing to get it to be this. So, like in your MOS, this is just gonna show you like, hey, like how many generators of the MOS do I need to go? Because when you're in MOS land, everything is getting octave reduced as well. So you don't have to worry about octaves really.
The first one's
And so yeah,
always an
whenever I
octave,
just want to
isn't it?
see like kind of how many generators in a given MOS it would need. And a lot of times this can be helpful in like choosing the size of an MOS, because if something like needs 30 generators to get a certain thing, then you're going to need a big MOS to be able to actually get that like accurate prime.
Oh, so if you need more generators, you need a more. I mean, not more
Yeah,
generators. If you
because
need to stack more generators, you need a
like
bigger
for mean
unit.
tone, you can like work with a fairly small scale because to get your major third, you only need to go by four perfect fifth generators. So you can like manage just with seven no MOS, though like certain tunings will be like more complex. So like how many generators it takes to get something that's called like complexity.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
then, so the little badness thing on the bottom is just kind of, I don't know exactly how the number exactly is calculated, but it's a measure of complexity combined with error. So when something is higher badness, it's going to be like either like more complex or have more error or both.
Okay. Yes. Interesting. So on this one, it's an octave and wait, we just said what this was.
That's like a tritone, kind of. It's like a
Five element
uh,
tritone.
yeah. So that
So you need what does this
so
mean?
that one is just made by stacking tritones. I imagine the MOS scale for that would kind of look a little silly, but
So it doesn't even have a
uh,
name.
yeah, sometimes there's not even a name for this. I don't know. Maybe if you do 2357, there
Uh-huh.
would be a name.
Oh, interesting.
For so you could just go. I don't
Oh, there
know.
is.
I'm not
Really?
familiar with this temperament. Oh yeah, it does have a name. Uh,
Lease splits the 12 interval of 3-1 into three 10/7s using this
oh
weird.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
So like
74.
you're
Wow. And you can use 19. Huh. Hmm. Interesting. 3 10/7s. I don't know where. I don't know how that
but
relates.
you could see for that one, it does take a lot more generators to get your like five. So you have to go seven generators
Oh, okay.
down
I see.
uh, to get your uh, thing. So you would need like a bigger MOS.
Uh-huh.
Also, something to note, stuff can be a bit easier once when the generators kind of go in a similar direction. Because now to make a major chord, not
Uh-huh.
only do you have to go seven generators down for your major third, but you also have to go three up for your perfect fifth. So like you would need something with like more than 10 notes in order to get a single major chord. So
Okay,
uh,
interesting.
yeah, it's important to like note this stuff when thinking about scales.
Mm.
Sometimes like uh, stuff that's more complex might not really work efficiently in a scale. Like for example, I think magic and miracle are like that, to where if you just like worked in uh, like those are two that work really well as a layout, but you would need a lot of notes. Like if you just wanted to do them as a scale in a DAW.
Oh, okay.
But like some can work very well as a keyboard layout. Magic temperament is basically something. Yeah, if you want to mess around with that on Skill Workshop, basically, I think 41 is a pretty good tuning of it. So you could go 41 Edo, and then I think it would be vertical 13, horizontal 2 on Skill Workshop. This is actually kind of what the kite guitar is based off of, because the kite guitar is like tuned in these like major thirds, and then uh,
Wait, what did you say for the
oh, so you could just put 41. So if you want to do see like
Oh, you
what
said
magic kind of
41.
does,
Yeah, yeah.
or so the temperament magic itself is basically built by stacking 5/4s to get a 3/1. So,
Okay.
and then, however, it can extend nicely to the 11 limit, and that's kind of if you go to 41 EDO, and then you could set up like a layout
Okay. Gotcha.
by going vertical 13, horizontal 2.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that is like kite guitar, yeah. I've actually tried that before.
Yeah, so yeah, in one direction you go up by major thirds, and then the other you go by this kind of small comma step.
Okay. What does it say?
And
It doesn't really work well on the linnstrument, unfortunately, because the steps are too large. You run out of notes really quickly.
yeah, but what was I gonna say?
You could go the other way, I guess.
And then magic. So you probably with the tetracot layout, you know how like major thirds or major chords kind of have a nice shape to
Yeah,
them
sure. Yeah.
in the tetracot. So
Uh-huh.
like miracle is one where you kind of have the like intuitive seeming shapes where like you just well instead of going 4 steps over to get a perfect fifth, you have to go 6. So miracle is one that works in like 31, 41, and 72.
So,
And I
yeah,
think
miracle.
yeah, miracle temperament is uh, it works pretty well as a layout for 31 and 41 and 72.
So,
And the chord shapes are pretty nice.
so what's the generator on that? It's this.
So the generator, I
It's the
guess,
30,
is kind of like
the 11 limit.
a, no, it's a semitone that's kind of represents both 15/14 and 16/15. This is why I'm saying that it's not very good as like a
So
scale, but it
the.
can
Uh-huh.
work as a nice keyboard layout because
Uh-huh.
you basically go by like for 31, it would be like 3 horizontal uh, and 1 vertical.
Okay. And 31.
And if you go 6 kind of steps horizontally, you get your uh, like perfect fifth. And then if you go like the thing in the middle of that, that's your neutral third. And then if you move that like middle note up, then you could get your major third, and then your minor third below that.
Wait,
And
what?
then
Hold
if
on.
you like,
Wait, I need to change my tuning. If you in
sorry,
31.
I'm going kind of fast.
No, no, you're fine. I'm just very slow. But if you don't mind. You said if you go up 6, you would have your minor third. These are all
Uh,
Edo steps, right?
so the uh, mapping for the miracle layout is
Uh,
if you go if you go horizontal, that's going by 3 steps, and then vertical, that's going by 1,
okay. Gotcha. Now we're good.
and then so chord shapes in that basically if you go just 6 horizontal, then that should be your perfect fifth.
Yeah.
So kind of like tetrachord, except you have to go a bit more
Yeah.
over. And then your kind of major chord is, well, you have your neutral chord if you just play the note in between those two, like if you
Yeah.
go 3 over.
Yeah.
And then you could adjust that up or down to change
Oh
that
yeah,
to
it's
a
very similar to
major or
Tetracot,
minor.
just a little wide.
But then the cool part of it is that you get your super major, sub minor, and sus chords all also pretty close. So
Yeah.
if you go 2 over, then that's like an so like just keep the same perfect fifth, and then if you go 2 steps vertically from your root, then that would be an 8 over 7. And you can adjust that up to be a sub minor third or down to be like a sus2.
Oh, wait a second. Let me try that. You said up 2 from my.
Er, so, so yeah, just the perfect fifth.
Yeah.
Shape for. Sorry, I'm not watching. I have your stream muted just because I'm gonna hear myself back.
Yeah, I have a perfect fit.
And then you can go 2 vertically from your root. Or sorry, not vertically, horizontally. I misspoke there.
Gotcha.
2 horizontally from your root to get an 8 over 7.
Okay.
And then you can move up to change that to a sub minor third, or you could move down to change that to like a sus2.
Interesting.
And then like kind of same deal if you so you have this kind of spine just going horizontally, and then you can modify each of those like notes in the middle of your kind of spine to
Yeah.
up or down to get your consonant chords. So you can get a sus4 by doing kind of like the mirror image of that sus2. So you
Yeah.
would go
I see.
horizontally 4 and then
Yeah.
up 1, and to get your super major, you would go horizontally 4 and then down 1. So
Okay.
you kind of get like all of the stuff like kind of spaced nicely in intuitive shapes. That's why I really like this layout.
Interesting, yeah. So they're all like kind of right there. Yeah, Tetracot's a little is very similar. It's probably a little friendlier for like one hand, because the this I mean I have kind of small hands though, but yeah, it's a little bit of a stretch on one instrument just to get the fifth and all that in between, but they all are like right there, and for two-handed voicing, it's quite convenient. That's cool. Yeah, it's neat how like, and another thing is like on the I was wondering about like the negative steps and stuff that some mappings have, and then I was like, oh, but on an instrument you could map negatively. You just go the other direction. I was like, it like in pure theory, it almost doesn't make sense, but it actually has like a practical application.
Yeah.
So anyway, point being, it's not like all just useless abstraction. You know, you could.
Yeah, sometimes Zen theory can feel like that as
Yeah.
someone who like kind of does a good bit of it.
Yeah, yeah. Nice. Have you done any like theorizing of your own? Have you discovered a comma? Are you seeking one?
No, what I'd like to say is that probably if you discover a temperament, it's already been found by someone else, but nobody else has made music in it yet. So like people are like constantly out there discovering like commas and temperaments and
Uh-huh.
just like discovering it, logging it, moving on to the next to where like if you like just find a random temperament, odds are like nobody has actually done something musically in it, and you could probably be the first. So that's a cool thing,
Yeah, for
a way to
sure.
put a yeah positive spin on that. But
Yeah, why make theory when
yeah,
there's
I think
so much theory that hasn't turned into music yet, you know?
yeah,
I
that's
mean, there's
a lot of
music
Zen
to be
theory is like
made.
that.
Yeah.
But I what I like to do is kind of like make JI scales. I've made a few JI scales that I'm pretty proud of.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
Yeah, you'll have to
yeah.
send me a scale.
Oh sure. Here, do you want one? I'll send you my magnum opus of a
Oh,
scale.
nice. Yeah. Have you published a piece with it yet online?
No, I was working on one
Okay.
with it. I need to start working on that again. But it's a 29 note GI scale, kind of a big thing,
Cool.
but I had
Yeah.
a very specific goal in mind. It kind of needed to have a good amount of notes to be able to achieve that.
I'm not scared of it. I'll try it.
All right, here.
I'm a little scared of it,
I
but
think this
I'll
should
still
be the
try it.
scale. Is this going to be an epic scale review screen?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
All right, you're gonna rate it
Yeah, right
out
up
of 10.
scale of 1 to
Out of
Zen.
10, Ito.
Uh-huh. Just looking at it, it's very confusing. I'll give it
Oh
that.
yeah, there's some
A lot
complicated
of
ratios
notes.
in there that might not make sense to like why you would choose that, like that 105 over 64. But that's kind of just to connect some extra stuff. Oh, it's all constant structure. Do you know what constant structure is?
I've heard the term, but please remind me because I do not.
It's basically like if you scroll, like, you know how there's like a big column of 3 over 2s and there's like a big column of 4 over 3s. So
Yes.
3 over 2 is always mapped to 17 steps, no matter
Cool.
what. Like,
Okay.
so a scale that was not constant structure would like maybe have
One
3 over
over
2s
here.
sometimes show up if you go 16 steps or 18 steps, but constant structure means that every interval is kind of mapped consistently to the same amount of steps within the scale. And the reason that's helpful is just to kind of save you a headache.
Right.
Because when a scale is constant structure, all you got to worry about is, hey, do I have this interval in here? Not like, where the hell is this interval? Because
Right.
a lot of times in a scale that's not constant structure, you could be like searching for like, do I even have an interval that I can build here?
And yeah, some of them
But
are.
if you go on the lattice, then
Uh-huh.
you could
Okay.
see like all the connections.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's a lot simpler. Okay. Although I don't know what this means, but so these are all the intervals that you use to build the scale.
Yeah. So do you know like how the lattice works?
Um, I mean, so I know this is I know what the fractions represent, so I don't know why these are here. So this
So
is
basically, the way lattices
two
work
and
is they
three.
are a way to kind of like visualize
Uh-huh.
how like the connections in a JI scale. So each kind of direction, you could see like horizontally, that's all moving by perfect fifths. So each direction corresponds with a different prime. So like this, like horizontal is going by is going by your threes. Vertical that
Okay.
goes by fives.
Got it. Got that. Okay.
And then like this
Okay. Is moving by moving
diagonal
four.
right
Yeah.
goes by your sevens, and then your diagonal left goes by your 11s. So
Oh. So it's
yeah, I tried to make sure so like an interval like 105 over 64 might not make a whole lot of sense at first,
but it
but
fits on the lattice
it
if you
allows you to
care.
like build a major chord on top of 21 over 16. It allows you to
Yeah.
build a like sub minor 7 chord on 15 over 8. It allows you to basically have more connections and more options, because a lot of times the big downside that people like will talk about with JI is that everything will be in tune with one note, but then if you go somewhere else, like stuff won't be necessarily in tune.
Right.
But like what I try to do with JI scales is make sure that wherever you are in the scale, you have some option for like where to go and a good amount of options.
Yeah. I guess in any JI scale like this, you're gonna run into like corners and stuff where they seem like
Hmm.
endpoints, but yeah, you obviously have like a good mixture of thirds and fifths and sevenths and even a few 11s. So yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, this makes sense now. Like this is an 11 up this and so on and so forth. And these are all just sevens up from these intervals. And yeah, this is kind of a more, I want to call it like old school approach to JI. This is 11 limit. Is that true?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all like consistently using these basic intervals, right? Like you're only
Hmm.
going up stacking like octave reduced prime 3, prime 5, prime 7 and 11.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so like this would not be like primodality, which I guess is a more like modern approach to JI. Not that this is like outdated or like no longer valid. Like doing JI this way, I think is
No,
great. But yeah, primodality is like, I guess would be a different way to do JI.
prime modality, as far as I understand it, it's more like just playing a harmonic series.
Yeah.
It's like choosing a subset of notes that are basically just reflecting the harmonic series.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
this is a bit more sophisticated because the notes don't line up. They line up cleanly, but in a different way. Like you can reroute it. This is basically like
Hmm.
this is kind of like the compromise between like what you get from JI, which is like super clean consonances and chords, and what you get from like a Edo, which is the ability to like move chords around. Here you like say, okay, I'm gonna settle for this many movements in this many directions, and
Hmm.
we're gonna have some interesting interactions that arise in between those things. But the basic structure is it's based on building certain JI chords.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool. I haven't like actually done much or any of this, but I have played with scales that are based off of this same type of logic. Like Lamont Young has that well-tuned piano. You're probably familiar with that, but it's basically just a 2-3-7 um, lattice. So it's a retuning of a piano. So it's just a 12 note scale, but it's all based on stacking fifths, sevenths, and that's it. All the notes arise from that. It's this really beautiful sound. And because it avoids the five limit too, it has this really cool kind of subdued, warm sort of flavor that it lacks kind of the brightness and the buzz of the five limit. But yeah, it's really neat, and you can like see the lattice on that as well, and you can kind of just follow the logic, just like on this. This is a little more sophisticated because more notes and it's more
Hmm.
primes, but yeah, very similar. Yeah.
All right. What is your scale review for this scale?
Well, I'm gonna play. I'm definitely gonna play with it, but just from just looking at what's here, I'm definitely interested. Like I'm gonna load it up. I'm gonna mess with it. I gotta see how many notes it is. That'll be the true test. But yeah, I'm definitely definitely intrigued. I like that it's 11 limit because I like the 11th harmonic a lot. And
Yeah, so what the scale kind of started as was I wanted a scale that would have multiple like harmonic 11th chords or 2, 3, or sorry, no, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 11 chords, like kind of like uh yeah, the nice harmonic 11th chords, and then I figured out how many notes I would need to do that while maintaining constant structure.
okay,
Because sometimes, well, if you want everything to be constant structure, you have to work around certain things, and you have to avoid picking like a number of notes. Because like JI and Edos, like making a JI scale actually requires a good amount of like logic from Edos. Because if you want to make something constant structure, you can think of it as like uh, that basically being a detemper of an Edo. So like taking just intonation representations of like everything that an Edo kind of yeah represents. So like if I was gonna do like something that's 12 notes, I would do like I would have to make sure that 5/4 is always mapped to 4 steps, because that's how many it's mapped to in that Edo, and 3/2 is always mapped to 7 steps, and so on and so forth.
what?
So sometimes it can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is that if I wanted to scale with like, say, both 5/4 and 9/7 built from the same root, like I couldn't do a 12 note scale for that unless I did like some really weird stuff because
Right. They
in
show both.
12,
Yeah.
9/7 and 5/4 are mapped to the same note. So it was kind of tricky finding what number of notes would work for this.
How did you like it seems overwhelmingly
Uh,
complicated.
so so basically, how I had to figure this out was I just took I started with having four of those like harmonic 11th chords kind of arranged. Or actually, I started with just three of them because it's really easy to get a scale with two of them, but not three for certain reasons, such as you end up having both 5/3 and 27/16 in the scale. And then I think you also have like both uh, 7/6 and or hang on, let me remember what it was before I
Sure.
start saying incorrect stuff. Oh yeah, you had both. I think 16/9 and 7/4. Or wait, yeah. And so basically having both 27/16 and 5/3. Those two are equated in mean tone, which means any Edo that supports mean tone, I can't have like that number of notes. So like I couldn't do like a 19
Oh,
note
wow.
scale,
Okay.
a 12 note scale, etc. And then also I couldn't have anything that was like archy or basically stuff that like 22/17 does. So like a lot of stuff is like immediately just like taken off the table there. And basically, the first Edo to not do one of those two things of some sort is 29, and I was able
Oh,
to
wow.
make that work.
Wow, okay. That's cool. I like that yeah, you really had to like use all these use like your knowledge of temperament and like it I don't know, it shows that you really kind of understand how all this stuff works and
Yeah,
you're
that's
using.
why I call this my magnum opus
Yeah.
because I had a goal in mind, and then I was able to make a really cool scale. Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
so basically, once I finished doing the skeleton of the scale, just the like harmonic 11th chords. I tried to from there make as many connections as possible. So I added that whole like row of 35s that kind of connect the so like 35/27, 35/18, 35/24, etc. That connect the sevens with the fives because once you do that, that kind of gives you both like your a whole new set of five limit and seven limit chords to work with because you can build like kind of both from that 35. You can so it kind of doubles your amount of those chords. And then I also added kind of last I added the extra 77s, 77/72, 72/48, 77/64 to kind of give you additional options. Also, it was kind of hard to figure out what should be mapped to that amount of note or like what interval to put at that amount of notes. So there were a few options. That one just seemed the best. Also, what I later came to realize is adding those 77s allowed me to have a lot more of this one specific chord that I like, which is like the chord that I really like is like a major seven chord, but you put an 11/8 in the middle, so it would like be an 8 to 10 to 11 to 12 to 15. I think that would be what the chord is,
Okay.
and so adding those basically made it so I can have a total of seven of those specific chords. So yeah, it's a scale
Interesting.
that I'm super proud of.
Cool.
I should stop gushing about my scale.
No,
I'm
you're
like
good.
patting myself on the back.
No, it's fascinating. I want to I think I'm gonna try to build that. I'm gonna try to make one. I need to
Yeah, JI scales are super fun.
yeah, I'm gonna play with this scale and hear how it sounds. Yeah, that's impressive. I'm impressed anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, great work on that. You know, I've seen your music videos and stuff, and you know, I like your music. Already was already a fan. I honestly I didn't I knew you knew some theory, but you really know your stuff. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for sharing your knowledge. Um,
I'm always happy to teach people. Like that's something that I really like doing. Just being able to teach people about Zen. I don't know why, but like it's so rewarding to me to be able
Mm.
to like kind of share knowledge like that. Yeah, so I've like helped out a few people who were like wanting to learn about stuff in Zen, and that's what I want to do with the YouTube videos. I'm just so
Yeah.
bad about like procrastinating and stuff.
Yeah,
I should
do it.
stop. I should start doing that tomorrow. I should start working on it tomorrow.
Yeah, I
There,
mean,
I'm putting my foot
yeah, yeah,
down
yeah.
and saying that I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
You could look at like the things you kind of explained like just now, and you could either like cut it up or like go, oh, I know a better way to communicate that, and just you could start with like something like that. Now that you're like talking it out, and you have a recording of it, you could refer back to. That might help.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I wanna. I have like I had a few videos like planned out. I want to talk about just like do like a basic intro to Zen video because yeah, I want to also be able to hopefully pull more people into Zen because it's kind of tragic how under talked about this is and like yeah, and how it's still like niche and unknown Zen is when like there's so many cool possibilities
Yeah.
that you can get from it.
Well, it's amazing like what you can do, and obviously like you know everybody like involved in this conversation and like watching right now like is already interested in this stuff, but it is so much information. Like I'm not in a way I'm not surprised it's not catching on more because as interested as I am, it's like it is hard to navigate the information. And like having conversations like this and like people mention things in chat, and like I know people understand it, and that gives me hope for myself, or like they're it it makes it clear that it's like it's not just a bunch of like rambling nonsense people making stuff up just to like you know put their name on something, like there's a way to use it, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's not like a clean pedagogy for it, there's not like a straightforward way of communicating this information to people and directing them to what they need to know. And I think also it's difficult because not everyone needs to take it as far as you've taken it. For a lot of people, just noodling on some Itos would be fine. For a lot of people, just like taking scales like that people like you are going to come up with because you're interested in doing that is going to be enough. But I don't know. By the same token, it would be cool for there to be like a more streamlined sort of resource of some kind that can just like take you step by step through the basics and into like understanding temperaments and mosses and how and that puts it all together like into the keyboard layouts and the instrument design and but at the same time there's so much. It's like I don't have the answer at all. I just know I wish it was simpler, but and I know there's a way to understand it, but is there a way that doesn't require like devoting 5 years of your life, studying it? You know what I mean? That's the real
I
question.
mean, yeah, I think the best way is just like, I guess finding someone who's like pretty good at teaching Zen, because knowing a lot about Zen theory and being able to like communicate that information to people are like two related but entirely different skill sets. Like are a lot of people on Zen Wiki who like have like a very good knowledge of Zen, but aren't the best at like communicating that to beginners. Like I've seen like people recommending blue temperament, which is like this weird temperament to beginners in beginner help,
Oh
and
yeah.
a lot of times it can be pretty inaccessible for a lot of people. So I think
Right.
just yeah,
No, and
yeah,
that's
a
another.
lot of
Yeah,
Zen is
yeah, yeah.
like
Sure.
like first getting over the big hurdle of like knowing how to like blue spelled EU,
Ah, I see.
like the cheese.
Because that one did look kind of simple. It's a 12 note. Ah, I see.
Uh,
Okay. Oh
yeah,
wow, look at that comma.
yeah, it's this
Yeah.
complicated comma, and I think it's stacking this like subtone to get a perfect fifth.
Oh,
And it
interesting.
needs a lot of yeah, like I would not recommend this scale to a beginner. Sorry, that was just a random
Sure, yeah.
example, but
No, there's plenty of them, yeah, for sure.
yeah, but uh,
Like
yeah. So I want
yeah.
to try to create that resource and make like some videos, just starting with like a video for like people who don't already do Zen to like basically explain like what an Ito is, like a few various popular Itos, like maybe another video for like MOS scales,
Right.
like
There is
I've had
some of that stuff out there, yeah, but
I have like a few people who are like kind of Zen beginners who I've like kind of been I don't know, like a mentor to or a Zenter, if you will. Uh,
yeah.
and uh, yeah, I've been like have two very successful lessons on like how to construct JI scales, because constructing a scale like the one that I did, it does require like a lot of knowledge, but I feel like it is like possible for like just someone without like a full year of Zen harmonics experience to be able to do something like that. But it does require some explanation. A lot of this is and a lot of the main hurdle uh, for like learning about Zen is all of the information like in ZenWiki and in the like temperament finder is kind of more of a catalog of information rather than a
Right.
resource for beginners.
Yeah.
And it can be, as a result of that, the information is very condensed, it's very jargon heavy, and it can be impossible to parse for beginners.
Sure,
And a
yeah.
lot of the first the main hurdles for like learning about that stuff is learning how to read those resources, and uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So how did you learn it?
I think I just kind of like hyper fixated on this for a while. I
Hmm.
mean, I haven't even been like doing this for a whole year yet. Like,
Oh
uh,
wow, yeah.
yeah, but uh, yeah, I've had some people like explain various Zen concepts to me, and yeah, just like looking at the wiki. I think I'm trying to remember. Uh, yeah, a lot of it was just being good at asking questions and asking for help for from more experienced Zen harmonicists,
Hmm.
and like learning from them what to do, because ZenWiki, obviously, if you don't know how to read it, it can be
Right.
pretty difficult. I mean, I think they are working on a good like beginner help page,
Uh-huh.
uh, and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, a lot of it is just like learning from other experienced people. Yeah, so yeah, I'd say whenever I try to Zen pill people, I usually also invite them to Zen Harmonic Alliance, because
Sure.
it can be helpful just to learn from the people who already have experience doing it. I think
I
that's the big thing.
I guess if you like actually use that as a resource to like connect with people and reach out to them, it would be more helpful because like for me, reading Zen Harmonic Alliance is very similar to reading Zen Harmonic Wiki. It's just obviously they're having conversations.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, probably uh like reaching out to people who like are like who know about this stuff,
Yeah,
or if you're in a
of course,
VC,
yeah.
like and people are talking. Uh, I
Uh-huh.
mean, I think I also joined Zendergarden,
Uh-huh.
which is kind of a smaller Zen. You know about Zendergarden. You're
Yeah.
right.
I'm on the
Yeah.
Discord. I've listened to the episodes. I'm a fan for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah. And I'm familiar with
Yeah,
that.
and yeah, just being able to learn from those people because that's like a kind of cozier, more tight-knit server.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of people are like pretty passionate and are happy to like explain stuff. So I guess what I should specify is Zen Harmonic Alliance Discord. If you're just reading the conversations going on, a lot of people are like talking about like uh, uh, these like niche micro temperaments and
Yeah, absolutely.
stuff still. But yeah, the main way to learn is just to talk to people, and also Zen Harmonic. You can learn from like Zen Harmonic Wiki once you know how to parse the information.
Right.
I think Dead Shaman like helped explain a lot of stuff to me.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a member
Yep.
on Shadow Garden,
Yep. Yep.
but
Hmm.
yeah, and then I kind of was able to once I knew how to. I was just learning how to learn how to do Zen. Once then I was able to like look at the wiki and get resources based off of that.
Yeah, it's cool. Nice.
All right, now I should
Yeah.
actually probably
No,
get
yeah, for
going.
sure.
It's now closer to 12:40.
No.
So,
Yeah.
all right.
Anyway. Yeah, nice
Have
time
a
with you
good
though.
rest
Yeah.
of your stream. See ya.
Absolutely. I'm gonna play with that scale. But yeah,
All right.
have a good night.
Good luck. Good luck with that. Yeah, I hope you're able to get all of the amazing JI buzz.
I'm gonna get a little bit of it at least. Cool, cool. Well, yeah, that was neat. All right. So you're heading out too. Oh, right on. See variable. Yeah, I'm gonna play with this scale for a little bit. Yeah, we'll go for about 15 minutes. Live streams a gold mine. Hell yeah. You have a size limit to your lattice. It becomes primodality. Primodality is more like if you just had like one of every. Well, it's primodality is more like a line than it is like a lattice. A lattice is like several lines in a way. Makes sense. 5 is mapped to 5 minus 1 octave. Top row is octave reducing, bottom row is stacking. I don't know where we were at when that happened. I know it was the mapping. 13 out of 41. Sundrick is a subset of Miracle. 77 to 64 mentioned. Nice. Alright. You could just edit this video and that'd be a huge resource. Yeah, I mean, if honestly, if Abnormality wants to edit the video and put it on his page, I would not mind. I am probably not going to edit it because honestly, it was most of the stream, and I don't really feel like editing anything. I'm sorry, but any of y'all are welcome to take clips from the stream, at least for the time being. I have no problem with that. If you limit the size of your lattice, every note on the lattice then represents effectively a harmonic of one really low note. Yeah, if every interval represents the harmonic of one note, then yeah, then it's primodal. Yeah, basically. I mean, as far as I understand, there's no difference between primodality and just playing a harmonic series. That's kind of the idea, as far as I can tell. It's just like it's a method for choosing some segment of the harmonic series, but it always references a singular fundamental. So yeah, anytime you do a lattice, you're basically not doing primodality because you wouldn't. It's a lattice would almost be bad for a primal because you would have you would have one direction pointing off of you would have one point and you would just have uh single lines coming off of the one point basically. And the only way you would stack more. You could stack. You can keep stacking generators, and it would still line up with a harmonic series, but it would be a very different way of going back. Oh, hold on, let me think about this for a second. Yeah, you would end up with very different notes for the most part. It would be interesting to look at a primordial scale on a lattice, actually. I'm kind of curious what that would look like. But yeah, I think I'm gonna play with this scale for a few minutes and then I'll get out of here. In about 10 minutes. So this is set out like 29 basically. And yeah, the notes kind of match up. So this is rooted on how does this work chromatically? Okay, it's like that. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's cool. That's fun. I'll have to mess with that more later. I like that. Like it really goes a long way that basically the types of intervals are more or less where you would expect them to be. And yeah, that's often like a confusing thing with JI layouts is you never know what's gonna be where. Thank you guys. I mean, you could clearly do a lot with this. I kind of kept it pretty vanilla to be totally honest, but I did try to go out a little bit, but maybe with a little more time I could find some really more interesting stuff in there. But yeah, it's some beautiful sounds for sure. So yeah, highly rated. I don't know if I want to give it a 10 right away. That seems maybe a little excessive, but I could definitely give it a 10 for the amount of effort that and thought that went into it. But it's definitely a good scale. So we'll see. If I get really bored of it in within a week, it'll probably be like an 8, which 8 is a worst case scenario. Is not bad at all. And who knows? Maybe I'll even fall in love with it, and then it'll be a 10 or an 11. You know. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Abnormality, for chatting with me. That was pretty cool. I definitely learned a lot, and I'm assuming I'm going to be thinking back on that conversation for weeks to come at least, while I'm still chewing on all this RTT, all this RTT stuff, and putting stuff together with the temperaments. So yeah, thanks for suggesting that, and thanks for calling, and for calling back too, and for sharing your scale and all that. Yeah, this is a great stream. This is a great example of like how this can be utilized as like a resource for people, I think. And it happened kind of more organically, and I think that's great. I love that. So anyway, appreciate y'all. I'll be back on tomorrow. My plan is to do more of the same, mixing more Doom Salad. I'll probably play with the scale a little more. Probably will read some more RTT too, because I'm really curious about the theory. You have to go do my normie stuff now. So yeah, y'all have a good day or night, whatever, blah blah blah. Thanks again for watching.